Hello, welcome to Good Games Well Played, episode 179. I'm Clint, aka JCM. With us this week is Messiah.
Hello.
And we were off last weekend. I was busy, couldn't get any recording done. Almost wasn't able to record this morning because the power went out. I don't know why the power goes out so much where I'm at. It wasn't windy or anything. It was just this morning it was out. I'm like, okay. Luckily it got up pretty quick, but it's just I don't know, man. I need a bigger UPS, and I want to get just a portable power bank as well. Because it's not too bad. My UPS lasts for 40 minutes keeping that work up, but I'm I need one that lasts for hours. But having a portable battery pack would be great just to help charge like the kids Switch. You forgot to plug in the base station, so I'm well, it'd be nice if I could just plug it into a battery bank. But
And that's the true tragedy, is if the Switch goes dead during a power outage.
yeah, well, he just wants to watch videos on the iPad, and then the toddler's he wants to sit in my office with me and watch some YouTube for a bit before he does whatever. But it's can't watch anything, man. I got nothing. There's nothing on there. But anyways, since we were out, we did. I have some articles that I saved from last week that I want to touch on quickly. One of them being that Alien Isolation 2 has been confirmed. Obviously, it's in early stages, so it'll probably be a couple years before it actually comes out. But I'm excited for that because I really liked Alien Isolation. And then we also got the announcement that the next batch of Tomb Raider remasters are coming. They're going to be... it's so annoying because the article when I did this 3 Tomb Raider games from an awkward time in Lara Croft's history are next to be remastered. And so it's Tomb Raider 4 through 6. So The Last Revelation, Tomb Raider Chronicles, and The Angel of Darkness. Now, I know The Angel of Darkness, which was a PS2 title, was kind of not... I remember that being not reviewing well, and I wasn't
It was
big.
just okay.
Yeah, and I wasn't big on Chronicles, but the only reason I wasn't big on Chronicles is because The Last Revelation is a good game, and the way it ended, it's is Laura dead? And then Chronicles is you don't find out anything because it's all just miscellaneous stories. And I'm until the very end, the final cutscene when what's his name? I want to say Werner. I forget the guy's name. He finds her backpack. When they're digging up the crumbled pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
But so it's it wasn't a bad game. It was just it's man, I really was hoping I could find out what happened to Laura. Why leave me on a cliffhanger? But I'm really excited. We talked about this when the Tomb Raider trilogy remaster came out. I was man, I really wish The Last Revelation was on there because I really like that game. I think it's my favorite of the Tomb Raiders, the originals anyways. And so I'm looking forward to that. I'm trying to see if there is a release date. It's so funny that they all are considered lesser entries. I'm man, who doesn't like The Last Revelation? It's a great game. Got fun puzzles. It's Egyptian themed.
You never really hear about Last Revelation when it's included in or when people talk about the PS1 era of Tomb Raider. It's people forgot that maybe that came out. I guess because 1, 2, and 3 were so iconic, I guess. But when you hear people talk about 4, you're yeah, that game came out. It's well, did you play it? What do you mean?
Yeah, I guess if I list, let's see. So Tomb Raider would have been 96, Tomb Raider 2 97, Tomb Raider 3 98, Tomb Raider The Last Revelation 99. So it's every year one was coming out. But I guess because it was 99, you're after Resident Evil, you're after Metal Gear. I guess maybe people just aren't into. No, it's the fourth. It's the annualization of games on the PS1 era because it was so quick to turn around. Mm-hmm. And then Chronicles 2000, and then The Angel of Darkness was 2003 on PS2. But yeah, it's funny though because when I talk to people, or when I was talking, there were some folks, artists and whatnot that I follow on Twitter, and they were talking about the trilogy when it was released, and I was saying how I was commenting on them they were talking about their experience with the game. I was saying the same thing I said on the podcast, was yeah, in my memory 2 was my favorite. When I replayed it, I'm this is not a good game compared to 1. And I'm I really wish they had Last Revelation. They agreed to yeah, I know, I love Last Revelation and whatnot. So it's it could have been just a weird time. Maybe by the time in 99, whatever else came out on PS1 was just maybe the JRPGs are really hitting. Especially after FF7, and people are always oh man, this genre is great. It could be one of those things, but I really like that game. So I'm looking for that. Oh, it comes out in February. It looks like February 14th, sorry, is when it's coming out. The same release date that the first remaster was released. So I'm looking forward to that. I only played Chronicles once, so I'll be curious to replay that And then I never played Angel of Darkness, so maybe that'll be. And I'm curious because when they came out with Tomb Raider Legend like essentially had it tied into the first game a lot because they remade the first game in Tomb Raider Anniversary, which I really liked. I liked that remake on PS2. And then it's like, oh, you play that and you play Tomb Raider Legend afterwards, and then that fed right into what was the other Tomb Raider game? It was, I'm trying to see here, Tomb Raider Underworld. Yeah, so it's like Legend, Anniversary, Underworld. Like they were kind of their own trilogy together.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked Underworld. I think I got the platinum on that on PS3, but yeah, we'll see. I look forward to playing that. I'll pick it up. It'll be $30 just like the other ones, but that's something that was announced. And then moving on to more recent stuff, it's funny. So, Microsoft has like a $1 Game Pass trial for only new people, not returning customers. It's been around for a long time, but recently they've been removing that. It's like a 14-day trial. They remove it in the weeks leading up to major releases. So the next Call of Duty's coming out, and they remove that trial because like no. Just like they did it for Starfield as well. It's funny that they're like, no, we're just gonna remove this.
Why even have that if you're not gonna let people take advantage of it? Like, it's so dumb.
I'm curious. So, like, if they did it for Starfield, how soon after Starfield did you put that back? Then because obviously it's like if people are gonna do that to save the money, you're not gonna get them to buy the game, and so they're just gonna wait until it goes back on. That trial period comes back. But I guess the downside is if they can't repeat that because they'd have to be a new customer each time. So unless they made like new IDs on their console or something, I don't know if you can like game the system that way. But anyway, I thought it was funny. Then the God of War TV series apparently is hitting a reset. They're having some showrunners departed, and I guess some new writers coming in. So that looks like it's having some trouble. I'm curious like what that is behind the scenes, what's going on there. But yeah, that's I feel like that's got to be a tough one to do as well. Because like, where do you start? How much do you teach a new audience about the past if it's going to be just 2018 story? But you got to educate them on the old games for who Kratos is. But who knows? And then Spider-Man 2 is officially announced for PC coming in January. But no, they didn't announce any additional story content, which I don't know why they would. It's just a PC announcement. But it'll be coming to Steam and Epic Game Store. Nexus Software, of course, is the one who's doing it. So that'll be showing up. I'm sure we'll get more trailers as far as, ultra-wide support, all that jazz coming up. But that's coming to PC now. That took a bit longer than I was expecting. I thought it would have come out a little sooner, but I guess not. And then, so Warhammer 40,000 Space Marines 2 did a patch, and they nerfed a bunch of stuff by pretty big percentage margins.
Why?
And a bunch of the players got, upset about this, so they review bombed it. But I'm like, man, can we just stop with review bombing? Like, just complain about it on Reddit. Like, if it's something that's important, like, requiring the PSN, so now it's not available in countries where it previously was for Helldivers 2, like that, we talked about it. It's like, that at least makes sense. You know what I mean? But it's like, this is like, okay, so they said we hear your feedback and they're going to be reverting some of those changes. But I'm like, you're not going to get 100% of those people who review bomb to go back in and edit their review. And also, it's such a false review score for people who go in to buy the game, maybe who like, oh, I heard about this game really popular. Oh, it's got really bad reviews in the recent reviews. And if they don't know about people that do this, it's going to look bad on Steam. And it's like, it's such a, just complain on Reddit. Like, that's what the Apex community does. They don't review bomb. They say, hey, this patch is bad, yada, yada. If they have good social media managers and whatnot, they browse the subreddit and they'll see, hey, people are complaining about this, or you just stop playing. They'll see the player base drop off. They'll know why. Like, the review bomb just, I feel like is a dumb, because like, other than that, for like the PvE and PvP stuff, it's like the base game isn't going to change. So for people who only care about the single player, it's like it's such a weird thing. But
also, it's just like, for anybody who's going to play the game and be new to it, like, that's not going to mean anything to them. Like, oh, this thing was nerfed. It's like, okay, well, that was going to be my play experience anyway.
Yeah.
So what does it matter? But It's just turning people off to it, because it's like, oh, well, why would, for people that are in the gaming circles and stuff like that, it's like, well, why why would they do that? Why does it matter in a PvE game? I'm sure it plays just fine still.
Yeah, it's like because if I played, I'd only play the campaign. I don't care about the PvP stuff and the PvE modes. Like I just want to play the story because that's what I hear is so fun. It's like, but anyways, I just it's such a weird thing, man. People gotta like just again complain on Reddit. That's where you do it. But because that's also where like they usually post the patch notes and whatnot is on a Reddit post, and you complain in there. Like but I don't know. And then the other thing that happened this week was there was an Xbox partner preview that happened. I'm not going to cover everything on it because it was quite a long bit. I'm not sure if it was like one of those, hey, here's a thing. Okay, now we're going to talk to the dev for 20 minutes or whatnot because it was like 4 hours long. But there were some games that I saw that looked interesting. They have the Control multiplayer game was revealed. It's called FBC Firebreak. It looks like kind of like a Left 4 Dead, but in the Control universe where you're trying to contain like all of these altered world, these items of power and whatnot, and enemies that like escape. So you're trying to go in there and capture them and whatnot. It's kind of like a Ghostbusters, I guess, like Left 4 Dead meets Ghostbusters, I suppose. But looks interesting. That'll be coming out at some point. No release date there. And then there's a new preview for the Alan Wake 2 DLC, which I didn't watch. We obviously had more Pirate Yakuza shown off. Animal Wells coming to Xbox. There's a game called Blind Fire that's going into early access, which looked interesting, only for Xbox and PC. But it's like it's a first person shooter, but there's no light. Like there's some neon in the map, but like the idea is that you're really supposed to listen, and anytime you fire a gun, the flash from the muzzle flash lights up the area, and there's miscellaneous objects in the room. Like there's one, it's like a police car, and at random intervals the lights will go off and the siren will go off just for a couple seconds, but it lights up anything around it. And so it's like, you can obviously see like the silhouette of people crossing over light sources, but it's kind of like this playing in the dark kind of thing. And it sounds interesting. I watched IGN put up a gameplay preview, but like whoever played it like super slow. I'm like, I feel like this is the kind of game you got to play fast. Like, don't take it slow. So it was a little rough to watch. I was like, come on, man, play quicker, man. Play like COD, but it's in the dark. So it seems interesting. I'm curious how it'll do. I haven't tried it yet. I don't know if it has... I got to see if it has controller support on PC. I assume it probably does if it's on Xbox and Early Access as well, but that seemed interesting. I'm trying to go through here and see what else there was. Not too much else I saw. I saw Phasmophobia is coming to Xbox in October. Subnautica 2 Early Access was announced. We did get a trailer for that, so I'm excited for Subnautica 2. EA's launching 2025. I don't think I'll be playing it in early access, but I am looking forward to that. And then, of course, the dumb Twitter discourse around it. I'm like, did you not pay attention to who the main characters were in the first game? Like, you're so dumb. But
of course they didn't.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Twitter.
Yeah, it's manufactured outrage because they didn't actually play the games.
Yeah.
And then the one game I saw from Blooper Team is Chronos: The New Dawn, which looks really interesting. It was just a CG trailer. It had a little bit of gameplay at the very end, which I liked. A little pre-alpha gameplay. But I'm really curious. I like the tone of the trailer, and it looks like it could be pretty good. It's coming out in 2025. It says for PC and Xbox. I'm assuming it's also on PlayStation as well, just because this is a recap of the Xbox showcase. I'm not going to say it's coming to PS5. But a lot of the games shown there are coming there. But that was one to me that looked really interesting. I'll be keeping my eye on. I like spooky games, and I wouldn't mind a new IP for a spooky game. So they did well with the Silent Hill 2 remake, from what I hear. I didn't play the original, so I can't compare. And the Medium, while not great, it had some fun ideas, some stuff that I liked about it. But I'll be looking forward to that one. But yeah, other than that, there wasn't a whole lot of other news that happened while we were out, and then from this week. I know. Did the new Mario Party game come out this week, or is it coming out?
Yeah, it did.
Okay, it did come out. All right. I saw some clips. I guess they have like I think they call it like a pro mode or something like that, where like it gets rid of a lot of the randomized stars that get handed out, and it also tells you which ones it's going to be, so you can kind of work your way to it. Like, let's say, most items used is going to be a star. It's like, okay, then you can work towards the goal of being the one who uses the most items.
Boo.
But just keep it on normal. I did see a funny clip someone posted where it was like someone paid. It was like Rosalina paid, or Peach paid the ghost, Boo, to steal the star from Rosalina, but then Rosalina on her turn landed on some weird question mark block that ended up just stealing the star back from Peach. So it's just like it just transferred the star back and forth. It was really funny. Like they're like, what? And I was like, that's Mario Party, man. It's like that's
like the core essence of Mario Party is the randomness.
Yeah. And then I know that Bloober Team said they're open to making more Silent Hill games after the success of Silent Hill remake. So we'll see there. I think the other thing that I missed was like Halo saying that they're going to be moving to Unreal Engine for the next game and no longer going to be on their Slip Space engine. I think that was like a big announcement. So that should help.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then I know apparently Activision's been using like this AI-powered voice moderation prior to the launch of Black Ops 6. And apparently it's been doing really well against stopping toxicity. I'm curious, like this is an example of like AI being used in a good way because it's not generative AI. It's just, it's monitoring. It's a moderation tool. Like that could be really good. I'd be curious how people try to get around it. Like usually, like you see that a lot with, people spelling words in chat that get censored. So then they spell it slightly different, maybe in leet speak or what have you, to get around the censor so other people can see their hate messages, what have you. But it was funny. Like I typed in a joke in Twitch chat for someone I follow, and it was like a naughty dad joke or whatever. But I had to type in the word whorehouse, and I put an asterisk in, I think, the O spot. But like the auto mod still got it. I was like, okay.
Yeah, the Twitch auto mod will still peg like censored stuff.
Yeah. So like, okay, you got me. But they cleared it and got it through. But I guess like, all right, I guess it didn't censor enough. But yeah, I'll be curious to see like how well that does. I wonder if there's like any videos of people showing the hit rate on it and like what words and like how does it do with accents and what have you. Like, is what if someone says a word that's not. They're not saying something that's bad, but maybe their accent makes it sound like it's bad. Or what if it's a word in another language? Like, is it?
I was just thinking, English? Like, what about like, what is it? Dutch as like "fook."
Yeah,
it's like just a normal ass word that they would say. So
yeah, maybe that one's fine. I'm sure it's probably just a bunch of derogatory terms that they put in there. But how do you train it? Like, does someone have to read the words out loud to be like, all right, okay, we need someone who's got an English accent. Okay, we need someone with a British accent and someone with this accent. Okay, read all these banned words so we can train the AI model on how to pick up on them. Okay, now we need like a 13-year-old so we can get the kid's voice. Like,
I like the idea of like they pick the sweetest person in the office to do that, and the person afterwards is like, I gotta go to church.
Yeah, hey Jenny, get in here. We need you to record something for us. They're hiring voice actors to go in there and. They got Neil Newbon in there, like just reading off curse words.
The unfortunate day at the office.
Yeah, it's like what are they? It's like this. Well, I was just going to get dark with that. Never mind. I was going to say like the people that look for child stuff, and they always have to do like therapy afterwards.
Yeah,
when they're like, yeah, it's like that's got to be rough. Like, but anyway,
they just have a confessional booth like on site.
Yeah, but yeah, that's it for the news. Like I said, there was a lot of stuff, but it was all like, just small stuff. And there were some things I deleted because they just weren't worth talking about at this point because it was already too long. But yeah, we can go ahead and move on to what we've been playing. I was hoping Isley would be here so we can talk about Silent Hill 2, but he is not, so that's unfortunate. But we'll go ahead and start with you. Have you been playing anything past 2 weeks?
I have been playing a new video game.
Oh, nice. What are you playing?
It's not an actual new video game. It's new to me. I'm playing Mother 3 for the first time. Really? I finally got how do I say it? My totally legal copy to run in English because it was never localized in America. Yeah. So I finally got it working on my tiny little adorable retro console. And I've been playing that, and it's super, super fun and adorable. And I'm beginning to see maybe why they never localized it in English. I don't know. It came out in 2006, I believe, 2006, 2007. It has some questionable characters that I don't think were meant to be questionable.
But like today's.
Yeah, there is definitely like I want to say like a Rocky Horror-esque group of characters. Like
Mhm.
they're cross-dressers, but they're not human. So it's like, is this questionable or is this camp? So I don't know if maybe that's part of the reason that they never localized it. They couldn't figure out a way to get around it or anything like that. But I mean, they did localize that one Ace Attorney game with that one really, really unfortunate case that kind of dealt with stuff like that, and they did their best, but it was still very ick. So I don't know. But all that aside, it's very adorable. It's very fun. I think the Mother series is probably one of my favorite game series ever. It's just so adorable and charming and funny and quirky. I don't know. It's just been very. I'm only on. I don't know how many chapters there are, but I'm on chapter 3. I just started chapter 3 last night. But yeah, it's just very fun. It got very dark a lot faster than the other Mother games did.
Yeah.
But I guess that's because in each chapter you're following a different main character, kind of, with their own kind of like main story that I'm guessing are all going to come together at the end, which is going to be really fun and rewarding. But yeah, I've just been playing that, basically. I'm very excited. I've been wanting to play it for a really long time. I don't have a GBA emulator on my computer because it's just not, I don't want to play GBA games on my computer. It kind of takes away some of the like fun of it to me, being able to like curl up on the couch and play a little fun little pixel game. But now that I have it on my little retro handheld, that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, I hear like because that's all like fan localization stuff, right? For
Yeah, it's basically just a patch that you download, and then you run the patch and it over a totally legal copy of the game, and it translates everything. And they've done a really, really good job with it, from what I can tell. I do eventually want to play the Japanese version, just because I've played the Japanese version of Earthbound Mother 2, and it's fairly easy to read, even with my like limited vocabulary and everything. But it's an easy read. But you can still get the gist of what's going on, even having not played it. So I would like to play the Japanese version eventually, just to see if I can catch any differences or things that they had to like that were maybe tricky to localize. But it seems pretty true to the original so far.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny you talk about questionable stuff. I was I was watching someone do a reaction to It Chapter 1, the remake, and there's have you seen those movies?
Yeah.
Okay. There's the part where Beverly, she looks at the lights, and so she's like, zoned out, and then Ben gives her the kiss and to land, she wakes up, and one of the reactors, like, in not a joking way, was like, no consent. And I'm like, this book, it's from 1986. Like, and it's not like, a Sleeping Beauty, like, weird situation. Like, she got mind controlled by the clown. Like, it was just so funny. I was like, really? That's what we're like, there's an evil killer clown taking kids, and you're like, no consent. Like, all right.
Oh my God. So I mentioned Rocky Horror earlier. Apparently there's online discourse with the young queers that are saying that Rocky Horror is problematic. And it's like, somebody needs to teach these kids about camp.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, it's so funny because like it's like that whole there's a video essay called "Comfortably Doug," and it's by that guy. I'm trying to remember. I gotta pause. It's from Folding Ideas. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that YouTube channel. They do a lot of essay stuff, but he's talking about the Nostalgia Critic, and I don't know if you're familiar with him either. I wasn't until this video came out. But I guess he's like some older YouTube channel that's been around for a long time. But he was talking about Pink Floyd's The Wall, and he's like reviewing it. But he's talking about like the film of The Wall, the film version of it, and basically saying how like, but he's looking at it through like a modern lens. So he's like, all this like the imagery being like all this whataboutisms and stuff and yada yada, and basically like saying, this is real bad, you're getting too preachy, this and that. And then so the Folding Ideas video is breaking down like, look, was back in the 70s. Like, this is about Britain post World War II and how it treated, the kids, and just having school just being production to make, workers and yada yada, this and that. Like you went into these labor jobs, and it's like, so it's just breaking down how bad the nostalgia critic, like understood what the wall was about. It was just so funny, and I feel like that happens a lot with media, where like people look at stuff and like they either forget that, like, hey, like let's say there was you see it a lot. I feel like anytime there's like a gay character in an old piece of media, where I'm trying to figure out how to word it, probably because I see the tweets about it a lot, where it's like it was more progressive at its time because of the way people were treated that way, but it doesn't necessarily look like that now because we're way more progressive than they were then.
Yeah,
where it's like, oh,
exactly.
this is problematic. It's like, well, actually, the inclusion of this person was way ahead of its time when the media came out, and it actually was kind of like trying to, get those messages out, and have it. The only way for people to have visibility of someone of that character back then was like through this, and it's like, yeah, it may seem problematic, and obviously the way maybe they were treated in that particular piece of media would be problematic. It's like, yeah, but that's also how it was then. So you're trying to humanize a character for people that might not see them that way outside of a film or something like that. It's just like, but yeah, it's always funny when the people are like that, are like, oh, this seems like an issue. It's like, really, something from the 80s.
Yeah, it's like, this is problematic. Okay, was it problematic when it came out? Probably, but you have to consider the context of the message and everything like that. It's like, if by today's standards, probably not great, but context is important, kids.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, yeah, it's like, oh no, Gen Z's trying to cancel this thing now, or trying to cancel Metal Gear Solid 2 or Solid Snake.
That's basically what it is. It's like, okay, but no.
yeah. But anyway, some crazy stuff. All right, yeah, trying to look at my notes here. I only been playing Silent Hill 2, the remake. Trying to get to my notes here. I've been streaming it a lot, like, and then posting the file. Man, YouTube uploads take 20 years, man. I swear to God, I uploaded like a hour and a half video, and it's like, oh, it's gonna take so long. I have to like do it overnight. It's just ridiculous.
You have to upload it overnight, and then you have to check and make sure that it was processed, and
and just keep it unlisted and publish it. And then I had to work. I'm like, okay, well, I can't just have a screenshot. I got to work on a thumbnail. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Well, I'm not gonna do the gotcha thing. But there's like a website called like Canva, where like you can create thumbnails. They have like a bunch of templates, but it's all like, it's very gotcha, in your face kind of stuff. I just
arrows and red circles and giant text.
I hate it so bad. Like if you type in YouTube thumbnail, it's so annoying. And I tried looking like, oh, maybe I can find someone on like Fiverr who can make something, but they're all the same thing. Like, oh, we can get you your CTR up, your CTR, which is your click-through rate. Like we can get it up, thousands of %. And it's like all their examples are the same gotcha or AI generated thumbnails. And I'm like, no, like that's why I talk about it in Discord, I think, but like MinMax, I like theirs because like they have all their thumbnails. It's the same kind of border. And it's like, okay, if it's the MinMax show, it'll say the MinMax show and have like some pictures on there. And then the topic of discussion, the main topic discussion of the thing. And if it's a plays, it says MinMax plays. It's a blue border, but it's like, it's all the same like border stuff. And typically there's no like gotcha face. And I Northern Line used to do that a lot too, where like, he would have like an artist make the thumbnail for whatever he was playing if it was going to be a long series, and he did it there. Otherwise, once he starts doing it, he would just take like an image of him and then do the white outline around him and put it over the Lethal Company, whatever, and just call it whatever. I'm like, but so luckily Canva's a nice site where I'll take like a screenshot from a particular moment, throw it in there, just put the Silent Hill 2 on it, and then be done with it. But anyway, I'm playing Silent Hill 2. It's a weird game. Like I feel like it's very 2001. And then I don't know, like it's not bad. It's not scary, but I don't know if that's because. And I was listening to Sarah Pazorski say the same thing, but I think it's because she's streaming it and I'm streaming it. So it's like, okay, I have a big light on, my ring light's on, I'm talking, I'm chatting if there's anybody, in chat. And so it's like, it kind of takes, but also I think it's because there's too many enemies. I feel like there was a bit where, like, and not to say I don't have like, tense moments, and I got jump scared pretty good by one of the mannequins. I just call him Legsy. leggies.
Mm.
And like they got me pretty good. But there's typically not like that Dead Space aspect of it where, because even like Resident Evil doesn't have nearly as many enemies as this game does. And like most of the frightening stuff is like usually jump scares in Resident Evil. And it's like, or it's like, oh, there's a lot of enemies, but I'm low on ammo. And I feel like I have a lot of ammo, I have a lot of heals. The enemies aren't that hard to take out because melee is so strong. But there's just too many of them. And like if there's an enemy around and I hear them, like it's not scary. And there was one bit where I was playing, I think it was like in, what section was I in? I think it was in the hospital where I was in like the upside down version of the hospital. And I went through, got something, and then I had to come, oh no, it was the prison. That's right. I was in the prison. And I get through an area, got the item, and then I had to, retrace my steps to get back, but there was no enemies around. But then I was like, after a while with no enemies, I was like, okay, where are they? What's going to happen? Then it became like, then I got kind of like this, tense, like shiver on me, like in that anticipation. Then it became scary. I was like, well, normally every time I go and I get the item, there's always like stuff on the way back, but there was nothing. And I was like, okay, well now where did everything go? What's going to happen now? And then that was when it got me. But other than that, it's like, there's just too many monsters, and it's not scary when there's so many monsters. There was one section in the prison, and I'm curious how it played out in the OG one, where there's like that courtyard and you have like the scale bits, and there's like something running around, like probably leggies or something in the dark, but you can't see it. Mm-hmm. And so it's like always running, like that was cool, but like it doesn't ever run around you when you're at the scales puzzle. It only does it if you're up on the judgment podium part. And I'm like, okay, but if you're up there, it's like, it's not that scary. It does make the controller vibrate, which I liked as well, because then that makes it seem like it's actually really there, not just, trying to fake you out. And there are some parts in the game where it's like, I think I was in the hotel or the apartment complex, and like, I think you might have been there, where like when the TV like starts whispering to you, you get like that spooky ASMR. Mm-hmm. It's like, like that was scary. I was like, okay, that got me. Like that's creepy. And then there's one part, I think it was in the prison, where someone like starts banging on one of the bathroom stalls. I'm like, okay, that's good. That got me. But other than that, I'm like, it's not that great. Like I guess there are parts where like you see a leggies and like they walk off through a doorway to go hide somewhere. But I'm like, I'm always on the lookout for them, so they never get the jump on me. But and I think if they didn't have that radio to tell you when enemies are nearby, that would be better. Maybe, but yeah, it's not that scary. And like, there's that one part in the prison where, and I'm assuming it was like this in the original, where there's the light switches, but they didn't really do anything. Like, I think they make the legs scatter, like the crawly ones. And, but I'm like, I guess this is to help people who are scared of the dark, but I'm like, it's still pretty light. You have your flashlight. But I thought like, oh, because it's so dark outside, I thought maybe this was going to turn into a mechanic, because you also have it in other parts of the prison, not just that one section with all the cells. So I thought, oh, maybe it's going to be like there's an enemy who chases you, but if you turn on the lights, they won't cross. Like that one short horror film that became a movie. It's like they can't go through the light or something. So I'm like, oh, maybe this is to help you be safe. But that never happened. So I was like, I manifested like this fake enemy that never became like, I thought it was like, oh, this is going to be the boss of the area. Like that whatever's in the courtyard running around, it's going to show up. And then it's like, no, that wasn't the case. So
those are Zaya safety switches.
Yeah.
I need to be in the light because I'm scared.
Yeah. But
for me, like the biggest horror aspect of Silent Hill has always been the enemy designs. The enemy designs are horrific. I don't like the way they move. And if I see them in the distance twitching, I'm going to turn around and go the other way. That's always been like the biggest thing of Silent Hill for me. But I will say in the remake, they force combat a lot. And Silent Hill's never really been known to have good combat, especially in the original. And in the remake, it's better, but it's very like Callisto Protocol, dodge, dodge, hit kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So it gets really like repetitive, especially when you don't encounter a lot of enemy variety throughout the levels. So they do force combat a little bit too much. So I think that takes away some of the like spooky atmosphere, like liminal space kind of aspect to it.
Yeah, because Callisto Protocol is a good example, because that's another game too where like it had some really scary moments on it. Like there's a bit early on in the game that I liked a lot, where like you're walking through like a storage area and there's these crates and you hear someone like talking to you in the distance. And once you get up and you pass one of these crates that's open, all of a sudden you hear a whisper on your right side. And when you have like that 3D Tempest audio, whatever in that game, it's like, I forget what the main character's name, but it's just like, Jason. And like whispers the name of the main character. And it was so scary. I was like, holy, and it was great, but like there wasn't much of that anywhere else. And like, again, that's a game where like, okay, there's typically always a monster around. So usually it's just a puzzle of, okay, well, how do I deal with this monster in this area? And do I get this one first and then do that one? And, how do I pull them? It's like once they're there, it's not scary. And Dead Space is the same way, but Dead Space is way more atmospheric horror in between all the stuff. And it's like, okay, and usually the xenomorphs, the necromorphs in that game jump out at you like through a vent or something. And it's like, and also the music's like way too much in the Silent Hill remake. I'm like, why is this music so extra? It's like,
I will not have any Akira Yamaoka slander in my house.
But it just, I don't know.
The
like
music is so good, but it doesn't fit the tone.
It's good, but I mean, like, it's almost like the music that should be playing when I'm attacked by something. Like, it's the combat music, because like it gets like really big, and I'm like, but nothing's happening. And I'm like, why are you doing that? Like, there's no monsters around. Like, this feels like it should be triggering when because there is like monster music, because you can hear it'll like go away once you kill everything. But it's like sometimes there's like just ambient, I'm exploring, and the music hits really like crescendos into something. I'm like, why? Nothing's happening. but
I think with the remake, I know that they put more like music stings and original music in areas that had a lot of significance in the original. But also like it would usually play in the original when you were in an area of like story importance, or if there was something important around that you needed to look at or something like that, or just like going to an area for the first time kind of thing. So it's like, I know in the remake, they have those echoes where it's like, okay, this was in the original, but obviously we've changed it, but here's a little nod to like what that was referencing kind of thing. So I think they do that with the music too, when you get to like, I would say like an iconic area or a very memorable area or something that's very important to the story as a whole, like 1, 2, and 3, and just the lore of Silent Hill in general. They'll play kind of like the music, and it's like, oh, this is important.
Yeah, and maybe it could be a case too where like maybe the OG camera, like obviously it wasn't still like RE style in one position, but maybe that camera angle in the original one like did contribute to that, making it kind of tense situation. Like it could be that. So, but yeah, it's just like not again. Not that I'm not enjoying the game. I am enjoying the game. It's just not, again. It's one of those things like it's a franchise I've heard so much about that I barely touched, and like a game that people really love, and I play it, and it's just like, I guess I might have set my expectations too high, I suppose. But I am enjoying it. It is, they do make some, but again, it's so weird. Like some parts where like, there's a bit where Maria's with you and you're like in the upside down, I forget where it is, but it's like, I think it's in the hospital, and I had to like, I'm looking for something. I need like 2 rings to open up the door with the woman on it. And we walk into a room, and I go up to a box on the ground, and she's like, is that what I think it is? And you go to it, and it's just a refrigerator, and he opens up the refrigerator and gets the ring. But I'm like, we just passed like 3 refrigerators in the kitchen, like moments ago. Why is the refrigerator on the floor here so surprising to Maria? I was like, if it had been something else, I would have been like, okay, maybe. But it was just so odd. That was weird. And then, oh man, I wish I took down more notes. I thought I remember. But like, it's also, there are some sections where like it's strange. Like, you fight that box boss, the cage boss, and then a second one pulls you up, but you never see it again. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not fighting that. And then I'm surprised at how little there is of Pyramid Head. Like oh, that's the other thing too. Like, I wish that bit in the hospital when you go up to the roof and you find something, and then you open the door, and then I'm like, okay, I bet Pyramid Head's going to be right outside. And then sure enough, it's a cutscene. He gets you. I'm like, man, it would have been great if like he bursts through the door and then to scare you, and then it transitioned to cutscene of him grabbing him and throwing James down. That would have been fun. But like I kind of saw it coming. But then he doesn't show up again. So I'm like, I'm curious, maybe there's another section. But like, and then there's that one mouth boss that's hanging underneath the cage that you have to get past, but you never see that again. The door boss was interesting. Again, but I feel like the dodge mechanic makes it too easy. He does do that charge, which is kind of creepy when you're not, because he doesn't always do it to close the gap. But I'm like, okay, fight this. Like, this is an interesting boss fight. You get to the TV. The TV has an audio clip from her past, and then you smash the TV to progress. I'm like, that's kind of cool thematically. And then, like, that wasn't a bad fight. You do use a lot of ammo, and then it ends up in that final room. I wonder if that's the one that Isley was talking about, because he was talking about, like, it feels like some enemies might be like super spongy just to make you waste your ammo. Like, it might be their health might be based on how much ammo you actually have, which would also be interesting because it would fix the thing of, what if you're a bad shot and you wasted all your ammo leading up to a boss, but now you don't have enough to actually fight the boss? Then you're kind of soft locked. Now, maybe the game can obviously give you, when you pick up a box of ammo in the arena, if there is some there, they'd be like, oh, here's 6 rounds instead of 2 or what have you. So having it based on how much ammo you have would be pretty interesting. Obviously, if you only have like 1 shot, it wouldn't be good. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I am enjoying it. I feel like the giving away where enemies are with the thing, like, I guess it should be more tense than it is.
The radio is like, that's like a Silent Hill staple kind of thing. It's like when you hear the radio, you kind of like tense up because you're like, okay, there's something around here that I either need to run by or that I'm gonna have to fight, kind of thing. It's just like, oh god, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Yeah. But I feel like the fake out with the bugs is kind of nice because you're like, oh god, there's an enemy, but it's just a bug. But yeah, having the legs like hide in certain places is pretty good, but it does
I
get
like
old.
That. I do like that a lot. And then because I really hated the crawling ones. I'm like, oh, you guys aren't as fun because you're just crawling around on the walls, and then I gotta wait for you to jump down because I'm not gonna waste my time. But I do like they hide in places. I like when I catch them trying to get to a hiding spot. I'm like, no, I got you. But
or you turn a corner and it's just like standing up in a corner. You're like, I see you.
Yep, I'm gonna tippy toe behind this skinny tree and disappear. Like,
or just hiding under a desk. You're like, I can see you there. You're not scaring me.
Yeah, but I do like those enemies because it's fun. Like, and I usually like when it's like, oh, it's a bug, but it's a bug, and there's a leggy hiding behind, on the other direction. Also, I guess it would be better if like the enemies weren't so loud, because then it would be like, oh, I hear the radio goes off, but I don't know what it is. But like the bugs, you can like hear them crawling pretty easily, and then the nurses make the standard noise. The legs, obviously, I don't think it goes off as much for the leg enemies. Like, it's a little quieter. It's funny. There's a small streamer I watch who plays a lot of Phasmophobia, and he has a lot of like sound jump scares you can redeem, like a gunshot, people screaming, knocking on the door, like for 1 channel point, which is really funny. So like you can scare him while he's playing Phasmophobia. But I was like, man, it'd be great if like you played Silent Hill with that feature, but the sound effect was the radio static, but like different intensities of it, so people could like mess with you and be like, oh, just a hint, like you just walked within that AoE for it to trigger, but then it went away. You're like, oh shit, where's the enemy now? But there's too many enemies to where it's like, okay, there's a lot of there's probably going to be something, like there won't be a lot of downtime for it to be worthwhile, except maybe early on. But yeah, it's I'm enjoying it. It's just, it definitely is a weird game, and I don't know how far I am. I know I'm like, I mean, spoilers, I guess, if you haven't played it, but like I'm in the labyrinth. I think I just got to the giant cube thing that you rotate. And then I think that's where I stopped. And I didn't play it last night.
That labyrinth area is probably going to take you a while. It was bad in the original, and it's not fantastic in the new one. It's just like, you're going to have a really good mental map on what's going on, or draw one. So just a fair warning.
Well, I think because the map in that area only fills in when you actually get to an area, and then it like starts to load in. I'm like, okay. But
yeah, that's the only map in the game that has like the fog of war kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But that is probably my least favorite part of the game. But I think they did a good job with it in the remake. I don't know. It kind of takes some of the tension out of the labyrinth thing. So with how long it is.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how long it takes me to get through there. But yeah, because I ended up playing Tiny Tina's Wonderlands with my cousin last night because he picked it up. It was on sale for like super cheap. There's like a PlayStation store, Halloween and fall discounts going on right now, and it was one of those. But it was funny at one point, because I'm streaming it every night. The Silent Hill. I went to stream, but I forget I was making a thumbnail, so I had like screen capture something, but for whatever reason I have to like display capture instead of screen capture, because like Windows would be like, oh, you're watching something. I was watching my own video in the media player, and I was trying to screen grab a specific moment, but you can't. It won't pop up in OBS, so I have to display capture. Anyways, I had it on display in my main window, and so when I went live and I switched over to my in-game scene, display is above my Elgato in the order, so it was higher up on the stack. So I displayed my desktop, and I was like, oh no, and like I panicked for a moment, and then afterwards I was like, why do I care? I have nothing on my desktop that's bad. Like, it's just standard stuff. Like, and I'm like, whatever. I was like, why did I panic? I was like, it was just so funny. I was like,
you could see my wallpaper.
Yeah, it's like, I wasn't expecting that. Oh no, you see my finance Excel file and all my content warning thumbnails. But yeah, that was funny. But yeah, I look forward to playing more of it. Get back in there. Maybe I'll get some in tonight, why not? Or maybe this afternoon when the little guy's sleeping. But yeah, it's like I said, interesting game. Like I said, there's a lot of bits in it that I'm like, oh, I like this, but then I might expect more to happen. Like there's one part in the prison where like you go to get an item and there's like a bunch of dead bodies around, and then you just get the item and then all the bodies come back alive, and I just ran past them. I'm like, I'm just gonna run. I need to go. I did have one bit where like an enemy, I think a nurse, followed me into a save room because I just ran past everything. I was like, hey, what? And I went to go save, but it's not paused when you're saving, so she hit me while I was saving. I was like, hey, damn it, get off me. You're not allowed in here. It's my safe space. Leave me alone. So I thought that was
She's
funny.
allowed in there. You're in her space.
Yeah. This is my office first, but
she said, I worked here, bitch.
Yeah, a lot of running around. Like I did like that weight puzzle because it was kind of spooky going out there. Like, is the thing right out here gonna get me? Oh, and then so you get to that part where like, okay, you solve the puzzle and then you trigger the judgment pedestal. And when I read the sign, I thought it said like, pick the person who most deserved it, not pick the person who most deserved, like had the right to kill. So I was reading, I was like, okay, it's whomever deserves the most judgment. Like, who is the worst person on this list? And I read, I'm like, oh, well, clearly the guy that burned down the building. And I pull the rope and it drops me down into the underground with all the monsters. So I just run out of there. I'm like, okay, I guess they're not the worst. Okay, how about the dude that stole his kid, ran in the woods, and then the kid died. So if no one can have her, or if he can't have her, no one can. I'm like, he's the worst. And then I drop down the pit, and I'm like, okay, hold on, let's go back and reread the message. Like, who is most deserving of what they did? Like, who's the least, who's in the right, essentially? And I'm like, oh, well, it's clearly the guy that killed the captor. Like, okay, number 6, and I pulled it. Like, okay, that was right. And I was like, damn it, I wish I had read this, reread it, because like when you first read it, like I'm like, okay, it's early on. I read it, I'm like, okay, I have to do some sort of judgment. You see the six hangman sections, but then when you go back, like the way the camera's angled, like it's only reading the quotes of the stories and whatnot. And I didn't even think that you could rotate it back up. And I was like, oh, you can rotate the camera up and see the actual what you're supposed to do. But anyway, but yeah, that's where I'm at. Looking forward to playing more. I tried, man. I downloaded some. I think I talked about it last episode. No, I talked about it on stream. But I was like, Steam Next Fest was going on. I was like, oh, there's some demos I want to download, give it a try. But I tried them out, and like, it's like, man, these are not in a place that I want to play. I was like, kind of disappointed because the trailers made them look pretty good. But I was like, when I was actually playing, I was like, oh, these don't feel good. It's like, I can't hop into these right now. I'm sorry. So I had to delete them. I was like, but I gave them a shot. But then I was like,
I mean, that's what demos are for, right?
Yeah, I was something like one felt, I guess it's just the way it felt because I didn't have controller support. So it felt like the original Half-Life, which not that that's a bad game, but it's like, that's an old game, you know? So I'm like, it just, I didn't like the way the movement felt. And the other game, like, probably could have been fine, but it just run around felt a little too strange. And I was like, you know what? Maybe not. And it's kind of annoying because then when I quit the game, it like launched a website. It's like, hey, tell us your thoughts. And it's like, no. Not right now. I just want to clear this off my hard drive and be done. But yeah, I think it ends tomorrow. But there were a lot of games on there. I should have probably downloaded some other ones. I only downloaded 2 because like I didn't want to download just a bunch of demos and not have time to get to any of them. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'll just do 2, even though there's more games on here that look interesting. But yeah. And then trying to see if I have any other notes here. Nope, no other notes. I think that's it. Just gotta play more Silent Hill. And then I gotta figure out what I want to play next. Gotta check the release calendar too. I know Super Mario Party's out. I still got Astrobot, so I could play that, but gotta see what else.
Oh, you haven't played Astrobot yet?
I haven't played it since I got it. The kid played a little bit of it. I haven't played it yet because got Silent Hill 2, and I was playing something else I wanted to finish up before I started playing Astrobot. And then, so yeah, I haven't played it yet. That I'll probably play off stream because I'm still working my way through some other games off stream as well. But I don't have a ton of game time, so I'm not playing too much. But yeah, I do look forward to playing Astrobot. I just haven't gotten there yet. But yeah. All right, well, I guess we can go ahead and call it there. So maybe we'll get some. I'm curious to get some of Isley's thoughts on Silent Hill 2. I don't know if he hasn't said if he's beaten it or not, so I don't know if he finished the game or if he's been too busy with work stuff. But hopefully he's here next week and we can chat about it. Maybe by then I'll have finished the game as well. But all right, well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up there. So thank you all for tuning in. Listen. Thank you, Zaya, for joining. And we'll see you all next time.
Bye.